This is RD Sharma Solution Class 12 Chapter 18 Maxima and Minima. We are taking the multiple choice questions, that is MCQ. The maximum value of x to the power 1 by x greater than 0 is. Now these are 4 options for us and we have to find out which one is the correct answer. Now if you are following me, then you have realized that in very small answer question, that is VSAQ, this question was already been taken up and solved. But for those who are not following, who have come here for the first time, let's go about it. Fx is equal to x raised 1 by x. Now we need to differentiate it, but the possibility is only when we take the log on both the sides. So we'll take the log on both the sides, log fx, that is log on both sides means log fx, and this is equal to log of x raised 1 by x. So this 1 by x will come in front, 1 by x log x, and then we are going to differentiate it. So let's differentiate it now, and we are differentiating it with respect to x. It's 1 by fx, differentiation of fx is f dash x, and this 1 by x log x. So this will follow the product rule. That means take one, differentiate other, then plus. Take another one and then keep the first one, like that only. So this is how it goes about. So ultimately you will get this fx in the denominator will go up on the right, and this you can write it as 1 minus log x by x square, and this fx is already the initial function which is x raised 1 by x. So this is equal to x raised 1 by x, and here inside we have 1 by x square minus log x by x square. You can write it as 1 minus log x by x square. Now since x is greater than 0, it is already been given in the question, and in the very small answer question it was not given that time. So we proved it otherwise. Now here it's clearly given x is greater than 0. So the second step here, the formulation of maxima minima requires the equation of or equating the differentiation with 0. So we are going to equate it to 0. So we essentially have 1 minus log x divided by x square multiplied by x raised 1 by x. When you equate it to 0, x square is definitely going to be 0 if you multiply it cross on the right hand side. But we'll take another logic that x is already greater than 0. So x raised 1 by x and x square cannot be 0 at all. Only log x 1 minus log x can be 0. So log x will be 1, and you know log base AB equals to C means A raised power C is B. So here log the base is E, so E raised 1 is equal to x, so x is equal to E. This is the critical point or extreme point for which the maximum minimum you will get. Now you need to, second thing is or third thing probably is the double differentiation. Now what I am suggesting here is that this is a multiple choice question. Even if you don't have to show it to the examiner. You just have to choose the option. So the double differentiation is not mandatory doing it here, means showing it to the examiner, because you will have only 4 options. You have to choose one of them. But in the long type questions or where you have to write the things, there you need the double differentiation to be shown, to be presented. I am just showing that you have to double differentiate what we have already differentiated, and the double differentiation value when x is equal to e has to be replaced. When you have f double dash e, that is, just assume that I have double differentiated it and place e in place of x. So we got this value. Now this value e is already known to us, it's a constant value. So all this apart from negative will give you a constant positive value. This negative is indicating that you are going to get a negative value. That means you are going to get a maximum value out here. So x equals to e is the point of local minima or maxima, and the value of local minima and maxima is fe. That is, you have to go back to the original equation, which is x raised 1 by x, x to the power 1 by x. So just put e here. So e raised 1 by e is the maximum value, which is the first option in this question. So this is how you are going to solve it or refer it if you are doing it by yourself. And again, I am saying that MCQ are questions which take less time, but double differentiation will take a lot of time here. Please understand, it will take 2 to 4 minutes just to solve the double differentiation or do the double differentiation. Anyways, first is the answer. If ax plus b by x is greater than or equal to c for all positive x where a and b is greater than 0, then. Now this a and b greater than 0, what does it mean? This x, a, b, they are given for a purpose. They are not just given to be given. You will see what importance this greater than 0 of x, a, b will be proved. We have the original equation, which is ax plus b by x. First thing to find out the minimum or maximum or this kind of question is the differentiation. So we'll differentiate it. Differentiate means, dividing the expression into smaller parts. So a minus b by x square. This is to be equated to 0. When we equate it to 0, a equals to b by x square. Actually, you are getting x square equals to b by a. X is equal to plus minus under root b by a. Remember, whenever you have x square, it has to be plus minus on the other side. Now, when you see this one, then comes the all positive x where a and b is greater than 0. That means you cannot take negative here. It's clearly given in the question is x will always be positive. When you have x as positive, why you're going to take the negative? No, x is equal to under root b by a plus. This is done. Now the next thing is we have f double dash x. That is the double differentiation. When we double differentiate it, what are you going to get? See, double differentiation is quite evident. It's your responsibility also because differentiation we are already done. So these questions are not about differentiation. These questions are all about the logic which has to be put in here in order to get the maximum minimum value. So this is the double differentiation value f double dash x. Now just keep this x as under root b by a. When you have this x as under root b by a, now 2b by under root b by a to the power 3. You can write it as b by a to the power half to the power 3. So this half multiplied by 3 is 3 by 2. Now this is greater than 0, so we will get a minima. And minima, see, first thing, when it is greater than 0, when it is minima, then the original condition will come from here only. In the previous question, I told you that you don't have to show the double differentiation to the examiner because these are the multiple choice questions. But I am going to change my statement here. Double differentiation is the mandatory thing in this question. Why? Because this double differentiation is going to give all the condition which are given in the options here. That is, after double differentiation, we are saying 2b by under root b by a whole cube is greater than 0. This will give you the actual equation which are given in the option. So ax plus b by x is greater than or equal to c. This is already given. Okay. Now ax plus b by x is greater than or equal to c. X is already been known to us, which is under root b by a. So in the original equation, put this under root b by a in here. Again, in the original equation, put x equals to under root b by a. A into under root b by a by b by under root b by a, and this is greater than or equal to c. From here, you'll get a condition which are given in this option. There are different options being provided here. Now, when you resolve this, then you are going to get the option, one of the options. Please remember, just get rid of the denominator under root. So you have to multiply the first term with under root a. The second term, which is b by under root a, b by a, multiply it by under root b. So multiply it by under root b. Denominator will be b cancels. Here under root a with numerator will get cancelled. So we have under root b here, under root ab here, under root ab. So it will be twice under root ab. It is greater than or equal to c. Now you can square both sides. It will be 4ab greater than or equal to c square. So it will be ab greater than or equal to c square by 4. Now you see this second option. This is exactly similar to the second option. So what is your answer? What is the option you are going to choose or tick or select? Is the option number 2, which is c square by 4 is less than or equal to ab, or you can call it as ab greater than or equal to c square by 4. That is your final answer. So here, this is a kind of different question we have attempted. We have never attempted a question like this. So this may be very important. Some questions which are not being asked in previous questionnaires, that is important. So what we have discussed here, all are being presented here for the reference, for the solution. The minimum value of x by log x is, again, in very small answer question, and in the previous exercises from 18.1 to 18.5, we have already covered this question. But those who have not followed it, or those who have come here for the first time, just let us start with the scratch. So fx is x by log x. then this f dash x is equal to what? When you differentiate it, what are you going to get? Now differentiation is of the form p by q. This p by q form, so x by log x is, so log x minus 1 by log x whole square. I've already differentiated it now. Now base is e, we are going to use this e just now. F dash x is equal to 0. When we equate it to 0, what are you going to get? Log x cannot be 0. So only log x minus 1 can be 0. So the numerator we have to equate it to 0. Actually we have to equate everything to 0, but logically log x minus 1 is equal to 0. So log x equals 0. E raised power 1 equal to x is equal to e is the critical point or the extreme point. Now in order to find out the minimum and maximum, what do we do? See, this is the thing. You can find out the double dash or the double differentiation. When you double differentiate it, because x is equal to e, you have to double differentiate it now. 1 by e will come. I am not going to double differentiate it. I would request you to kindly perform the double differentiation, and this 1 by e which is greater than 0 will put a stamp on minimum value, that this function is going to give you minimum value. And to find out the minimum value, we will turn ourselves to the original equation, which is x by log x, and in place of x we will replace it by e. So it is log by log e base e. The denominator will be 1, the numerator will be e. So this is e. So this is the discussion here, and the reference you can take in order to solve it by yourself. The option you know already, it's option number 1. Now if you are following it, this question already being taken up, but don't worry about this. We are going to solve it from the beginning, from the first step. X is equal to 1 is a point of maximum, x equals to minus 1 is a point of minimum, maximum value greater than minimum value, or otherwise. Now what you will see here is that this is a different kind of question we have not attempted as far as MCQs are concerned. The first thing first is always differentiation. X plus 1 by x has to be differentiated and equated to 0 in order to get the critical points or the extreme point. So f dash x is 1 minus x square, and when you equate it to 0, the local minima and the local maxima can only be achieved when you equate this differentiated value equals to 0. So 1 minus 1 by x square is equal to 0. This is 1 equals to 1 by x square is equal to 1, x will be equal to plus minus 1. Now in this question it is not being specified whether x is positive or negative. So we have to take both the value, x equals to plus 1 as well as x equals to negative 1. Next thing will be double differentiation of 1 minus 1 by x square. First derivative is already being found out. My humble submission to you is to differentiate it again. I have already differentiated it. It is 2 by x cube. I just have to put these two values, which is f negative 1 and f1. Let me reiterate, plus 1 and minus 1 have to be checked separately. F negative 1 is 2 by negative 1 whole cube. F1 is 2 by 1 whole cube. This is going to give you negative 2. This is going to give you plus 2. Negative means maximum. Positive means minimum. Negative means maximum. Positive means maximum. So you have minimum maximum here. Okay. So local minima and local maxima will only be achieved through this. And what are the kind of result this double differentiation has given us? But whether x equals to 1 is a point of maximum, we'll just check it. But what is the maximum value? It is negative 2. Maximum value is negative 2. What is the minimum value? Minimum value is plus 2. So maximum value is actually less than plus 2, means you can say that maximum value is less than minimum value. From here, the minus 2 is actually the negative value which is giving you maximum. So maximum value is actually less than a minimum value. So the third option is the correct option. X equals to 1 gives you maximum. No, it is giving us minimum value. X equals to minus 1 is a point of minimum. No, it is going to give you the maximum value. So the first, second and third option doesn't show any correspondence with this question. Only the third one is equated. Third one is the true one. So whatever we have discussed is being presented here, and this one you have to do. This is as I said, a different kind of question. We have never seen a question like this in whole chapter, and third option is the correct answer. Now this is fx equals to, we have an expression here, x cube plus 3x square minus 9x plus 2. Then fx has. Now all these options will definitely come by itself. You don't have to worry about it. Because if you know the logic, if you know the process, other things are, these results are just the byproducts. F dash x is what? Differentiation of this expression. It's 3x square. I am directly doing the differentiation. This is the differentiated value, 6x minus 9. Now local minima or local maxima, for that you have to equate f dash x equals to 0. This you can call it as a second step. So 3x square plus 6x minus 9 equals to 0. And you can take 3 common or divide everything by 3 left hand side or right hand side. So x square plus 2x minus 3 equals to 0. Now when you take the factor, it's quite obvious. This is a very simple quadratic equation. So x plus 3 and x minus 1 will come. And this is not an exercise. This is you will do on a click of a button, I guess. So you have x equals to 1 and x equals to negative 3. These are the points of criticality, or these are the extreme points. So third one is f double dash x. F double dash x is double differentiation. It will be 6x plus 6. We need to check for minimum and maximum, not the value but the possibility of minimum and maximum at these, 1 and negative 3. When you put 1, 6 into 1 plus 6 is 12. When you place negative 3, it's 6 into negative 3 plus 6 is negative 12. 12 is greater than 0, it is minimum. Negative 3, it's minus 12, it's maximum. Minimum, maximum you got at what value? Now what is the correct option here? At x equals to 1, you are going to get maximum. Are you going to get it? No, it's minimum. At x equals to 1, you are going to get minimum. Yes, the second option is the correct option. And are you going to solve for the maximum or minimum value? That is, at x equals to 1, you are going to place that value in the original equation? No. So just the double differentiation is going to give you this value. So this double differentiation, as I said, you don't have to worry about the final value. The minimum value of fx is equal to this one, and we'll just compare it because it's just similar to the previous question, except that it will not be a quadratic equation, it will be a cubic equation after differentiation. So I'm differentiating it now. F dash x is 4x cube minus 2x minus 2. So f dash x is equal to this one. And since it is x cube, there will be certain factors being formed. And these factors will be only computed when you place x equals to 1, this equation will become 0. So x minus 1 is definitely one of the factor. And now divide this 4x cube minus 2x minus 2 divided by x minus 1. So you have to divide this original or the differentiated equation by x minus 1. So when you do it, you are going to get 4x square plus 4x plus 2. If you go back to your 7th, 8th standard, you will know how to divide it. If you are not able to do it, just go back and just revisit. But the final thing I have already expressed here and showed it to you. Next thing is f dash x equals to 0. 4x square plus 4x plus 2 will never come to be 0. It will never. Whatever value you put, negative 1, 1, plus 1, whichever. But x minus 1 equals to 0 will give you x equals to 1. When you have this x equals to 1, then double differentiation is 12x square minus 2. Now put this x equals to 1 in this equation, you will get 12 minus 2, which is going to be 10. 10 is a positive value, or you are going to get minimum here. So x equals to 1 will indicate or will give you a minimum value. So the question is also saying about minimum value. What will be the value? Put x equals to 1 in the original equation. So when you put 1 here in the original equation, you're going to get 4, and that 4 is your final answer. So this is the reference for you. You can just follow this. The number which exceeds its square by the greatest possible quantity is. Now we have to make an equation here. The only important thing in this question is to make the first equation. So let us assume that the number is x. The number is x. Now it exceeds its square. What is square? X square. By the greatest possible quantity is. X is the number. It is exceeding x square. That is the square of the number. That is the difference between x and x square. Whatever is this will be, it has to be the greatest possible quantity. So the function is x minus x square. F dash x will be what? The differentiation will be. Because the next thing will be differentiation. 1 minus 2x. The third thing will be the differentiation equated to 0. So that we get the critical point. 1 minus 2x equals to 0 means x is equal to 1 by 2. Now this x is equals to 1 by 2 is the critical point. And the next thing will be just to show the examiner that we are actually finding the greatest possible quantity. When f double dash x is negative 2, negative 2 is indicating less than 0. Less than 0 means the maximum value or the greatest possible value. So we are talking about the local maxima here. X is equal to half. This is your x equals to half is the answer here. The number x which exceeds its square is half. So this is very straightforward question, and if you are able to make the equation, I don't think there is any problem at all. Now please remember and do see this question very carefully, because this kind of question is going to come later on also. So we have a function here, we have to have this fx has a minimum at x equals to what? We start with the first one, which is our fx, and we will differentiate it. So I am writing the differentiation equation is already in front of you. I am double differentiating it, so it will be 2x minus a plus 2 into x minus b, because the differentiation of x minus a and x minus b and x minus c independently are 1 only. So you get 2x minus c. This is the differentiation or derivative, first derivative. Now second thing will be what? The second thing is equating this to 0. F dash x has to be equal to 0. So once you equate it to 0, you can just divide either side, left hand side and right hand side, by 2. So you'll get this x minus a, x minus b, x minus c added. So this first equation, when equated to 0 divided by 2, we get x minus a plus x minus b plus x minus c equals to 0. This becomes 3x equals to a plus b plus c. So this will give you x equals to a plus b plus c divided by 3. Now, are you getting the answer? Yes, the first one is the x. But just one more step we have to go ahead and show it to the examiner. We have to double differentiate this. Fx has to be done as f double dash x. So when we double differentiate it, again as I said, x minus a differentiation will be 1 only. So you'll get 2. X minus b differentiation is again 1, so 2. X minus c differentiation is 1, so 2. So you get a 6. F double dash x is 6, which is positive. Positive means the minimum value. You wanted the minimum, this is the minimum. So this is how you have to do it. This is a very straightforward question again. And the languages you have to write. The sum of two non-zero numbers is 8. So we have one number as x, the addition of this x with another number is 8. So if one number is x, the other number will be 8 minus x. The minimum value of the sum of its reciprocal. Reciprocal is just the number kept as a denominator below 1. So 1 by x plus 1 by y is the addition of the reciprocals. So we have the sum of two non-zero numbers 8 that we have already made. One number is x, one number is 8 minus x. That is your first one. So again I am just showing you y equals to 8 minus x. So we have x and 8 minus x. These are the two numbers. Then we have the 1 by x plus 1 by y. This is the sum of the reciprocal. So this is the function we have to start with and differentiate. So in place of y, just replace it by 8 minus x. 1 by x plus 1 by 8 minus x it is. So I am just now differentiating it. You already know how differentiation goes. And what will be the differentiation of this function? F dash x will be equal to 1 by x differentiation is minus 1 by x square. Then we have 1 by 8 minus x. So we have 1 by 8 minus x whole square. It will be negative in front. Differentiation of 8 minus x will be negative 1. That is why we have a negative in between and negative. This will become, see, f double dash x will be found just now. But before that we have to equate this to 0. So we get the equation, and this equation has to be expanded so that you get the simplified version. So 8 minus x whole square equals to x square. When you equate this, 8 minus x square will be equal to a square plus b square minus 2ab. So this is x square equals to 64 plus x square minus 2 into 8 into 6, 16x. So this x square gets cancelled. 64 is equal to 16x. X will be equal to 64 by 16. 16 4s are 64. X is equal to 4. And what is y? Y is equal to 8 minus x. This is already being established in the question. In the first part if you see. So y is equal to 8 minus x. It will be 8 minus 4. That is going to be 4. So what is the minimum value? The question is asking about the minimum value of this sum of the reciprocals. So we are interested in 1 by x plus 1 by y. And we already got x and y as 4. So 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4 is what? It's 2 by 4. That is actually equal to 1 by 2. So this is your answer, 1 by 2. Now do you think we have finished the question? No. One more step we have to do. Actually, this is just to verify. Double differentiation you have to do and then replace x by 4 and see what value is coming, I'm not talking about the value, actually the sign of the value. If you see, when you double dash this differentiation, it will be 2 by x cube minus 2 by 8 minus x whole cube. When you put x equals to 4, it will be what? It is going to be 0. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. Because normally we take 0 as positive. There is no concept of negative 0. So here you can say if it is positive, you are getting a minimum value. And what is the minimum value? That is going to be 1 by 2. Please remember, in the number line, we always start negative with negative 1 if we are talking about integers. So 0 is the first positive integer. That is why if it is positive, we are going to get the minimum value. So whatever we discussed just now, this is all what you have to follow. And those who are doing by themselves, they can refer this particular solution and try to solve it, because this is a kind of important question. Now, as I was indicating, we have already done a question like this. So we are going to use that concept. Only the function which is given here is in a different form. So we have to assume the minimum value at x equals to what? The function will assume minimum value at x equals to what? So we have to find out the value of x. So the first thing fx is what? It is sigma. Sigma starts from 1 to 5. So sigma is summation. We'll take x minus r whole square. First we'll put r equal to 1. So it will be x minus 1 whole square. Plus, because this sigma is addition, plus x minus 2 whole square. Now we'll put r equals to 3. So it will be 3x minus 3 whole square. Then we take x equals to 4. So we get x minus 4 whole square. Then we place x equals to r equals to 5. X minus 5 whole square. So this is the whole equation. And if you remember x minus a whole square, x minus b whole x minus b, x minus c whole square, already that question has been completed. So this is differentiation now. Twice x minus 1 plus twice x minus 2 plus twice x minus 3 plus twice x minus 4 plus twice x minus 5. This is the first differential or first differentiation. Then what we'll do? We have to equate it to 0. So when we equate it to 0, the better thing is to take 2 outside. You have to just add x minus 1 till x minus 5. So there are 5 x's here, and 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, that is going to be 15. So 5x minus 15 you are going to get. So twice of 5x minus 15. This is f dash x. Next will be f dash x equals to 0. You have to equate this to 0. When you equate this to 0, you can divide both sides by, you can take 5 also outside. So you'll get 10x minus 3. So it is 10 into x minus 3, and you are equating it to 0. So if you divide both sides by 10, x minus 3 equals to 0, x will be equal to 3. So x equals to 3 is our answer. Because the function this assumes minimum value at x equals to 3. We have already got the answer. So you can just, if this is an MCQ, you can just tick this one and just go forward. But if this question is not coming in MCQ, you have to solve it. Then you have to do the double differentiation also. This double differentiation is essential. Double differentiation of the first derivative. And then you have to put this x equals to 3 and find out the sign of the value which is going to come when you put x equals to 3 in the double differentiated value. So what do you get? This is 10, this is positive, this is minimum. So how are you going to solve this? All this I have already explained you, and the languages are very important, like for local maxima minima we must have, for x equals to, so x equals to 3 is a local minima. Now this is a trigonometric question, but it has some twist or something which is to be explained, and that explanation is you can just propagate or divulge it to various other questions of this sort, because this is a trigonometric question. Now at x equals to 5 pi by 6, fx equals to this is. So we need to find out the value of the function at x equals to 5 pi by 6. So what do you get? Let us differentiate this. If we don't know anything, in minima and maxima we always differentiate it. So when we differentiate it, this 2 sine 3x plus 3 cos 3x, we get 6 cos 3x minus sine 3x, and what this 3 is a 9. So 9 sine 3x. Next one is the differentiated value equated to 0. So 6 cos 3x minus 9 sine 3x has to be equated to 0. When you equate it to 0, it will be 6 cos 3x is equal to 9 sine 3x. So you get 10 3x equals to 6 by 9. Sine 3x by cos 3x is 10. 6 by 9 is 2 by 3. So 10 3x is equal to 2 by 3. Now you tell me, what are you going to get? Because when you put this equals to 0, the x value what you get is the point of minimum or maximum. Alright. So at certain point x equal to what, you are going to get some minimum and maximum value. But this question is saying at x equals to 5 pi by 6, this function is having a value which is minimum, maximum or what? So just put x equals to 5 pi by 6 in the single differentiation value and then the double differentiate it and then equate it to, then find out what is the sign of that function. I hope you are getting the point. Even if we put x equals to 5 pi by 6 at this, when we placed equals to 0, we got tan 3x equals to 2 by 3. And when we put 5 pi by 6 in this tan 3x, we got tan 5 pi by 2. And 5 pi by 2 is simply 10 2 pi plus pi by 2. That is 10 2 pi plus pi by 2 and 10 360 plus pi by 2. So every function, it always repeats after 2 pi. So if you have 10 2 pi plus pi by 2, it is going to be 10 pi by 2 only. So 10 5 pi by 6, when you take 10 3x, whether it is equal to 2 by 3 or not. I hope you are getting the idea. I am trying to convince you that this function is going to give you something different, and which is not 0 minimum or maximum. So you have this 450 degree, which is essentially 5 pi by 6. You can multiply it by 180 by pi in order to get what kind of value you are getting. So this 2 pi plus pi by 2, as I was indicating, this is 450 degree. It's simply 360 plus 90 degree. So you get 1090 degree. What is value of 1090 degree? You just tell me. 1090 degree is infinite. Are you getting it? 10 infinite, 10 pi by 2 is infinite value because it is simply sine pi by 2 by cos pi by 2. And sine pi by 2 is, because sine pi by 2 is 1, cos pi by 2 is 0, 1 by 0 is undefined. So 10 pi by 2 is undefined, tan 3x is equal to undefined value. So what do you get? All these, see, I'm trying to give you all the flavors, and you can conclude or you can find out, and you can just take it as a story, and this story has no say ending. So when you have this 10x equals to 2 by 3, it is not going to come first of all. Okay, you have to find out that 3x forward which you get 2 by 3 when you apply tan for this, and that is not going to happen at all. Even if you put the value x equals to pi by 6, you are going to get 10 pi by 2. So 10 3x equals to 10 pi by 2, you can say 3x equals to pi by 2. For example, just one more event to the story. So you will get x equals to pi by 6, which is not going to convince at all. Alright. So the thing is, whichever the value which is given here is not going to give you any fruitful result. But if you come up with any result, you are most welcome to just comment and tell us that yes, I got this one. So when we did all this, 10x 3x cannot be equal to 2 by 3. It is not satisfying the equation number 1 which you see here. So x equals to 5 pi by 6 not a critical point. And if you have no critical point, you are not going to get the value at all, because these minimum maximum only comes at critical value, critical points. And critical points is already given in the question, which is not fulfilling the request of either minimum or maximum when we did all these steps which we have learned in our previous discussions. None of these is the answer. If x lies in the interval 0 to 1, then the least value of x square plus x plus 1 is. Now, this question seems to be very easy, but let me tell you it is not. You'll just see now. Fx is equal to x square plus x plus 1. What is the minimum maximum criteria? We differentiate it. It is quite easy. 2x plus 1 is the differentiation. We equate it to 0. That is what we have been following. 2x plus 1 equals to 0. So x is equal to negative half. X equals to negative half. Now here is the problem. What is the problem? The problem is that x lies in the interval 0 to 1. It is already given in the question. But x equals to negative half is not lying in this interval. When x is not lying in 0 to 1, because x can only lie between 0 and 1. But x is coming as negative half. X is negative half is not coming in this interval. So we have no other option but to check the least value of this function only at the corner points or the end points or the extreme points or the interval points. So we'll check f0, f1. We will directly use the equation number 1 which is already given in the question, x square plus x plus 1. One time we'll put 0, one time we'll put f1, At f0 you get 1, at f1 you get 3. What is the least of them? 1. So you are getting 1 at what? At 0, at x equals to 0. So what is the minimum value? What is the minimum value? It's 1. Even if you double differentiate this, you are going to get 2. So even if you get 2, you are getting what? 2 is the maximum value. 2 is positive. So it is going to, positive means you are going to get minimum value. And minimum value at what value? X equals to minus half, but x equal to minus half is not in the interval. So you can check only at 0 and 1, and f0 will give you 1. The least value of the function, this one, is in the interval 0 to 9. Now same thing, the interval when it is given, that means this question is targeting some other part of your brain which is not yet being challenged. F dash x is simple differentiation, that is 3x square minus 36x plus 96. This single differentiation is quite easy for you. Next step, what do? You equate it to 0. F dash x equals to 0. When you equate it to 0, you get 3x square minus 36 plus 96 equals to 0. You can take 3 common outside. So and divide both sides by 3 because it is 0 anyways on the right hand side. So x square minus 12x plus 32 equals to 0. When you have this quadratic equation, you can find out the roots, or you can find out the critical points, or you can find out the factors. So when you have x minus 4 and x minus 8 as the factor, either if x will solve at 4 or x will solve at 8 because it is equated to 0. When you equate it to 0, 4 and 8 are coming and they are inside 0 to 9. Now what previous question minus half was outside the interval. Here 4 and 8 are inside the interval. When they are inside the interval, that is from 0 to 9, we have 2 more critical points, 4 and 8, to be checked. Or because the function is asking about the least value of the function in this interval, and there are 2 critical points along with the end points, which is 0 and 9, we are going to just place this value in the original function. So we'll find out f0, f4, f8, f9. I hope you got the idea. So this 0, 4, 8, 9 you have to place in this equation. Try to find out the value, take the minimum out, that is the least one, and that is going to be your answer. Because we have to find out the least value of the function. So this is f0 is 0, f4 is 160, f8 you are going to get 128, f9 it will be 135. So what is the minimum value? 0. Minimum is 0. If the question would have been the highest value of the function, it would have been f4, which is 160. So 160 is matching, 135 is matching. So this question is a classic example of a different question that we have already done. So this is the least value, which is 0 in this case. This is your answer, okay? How are you going to solve this? This is a kind of different question, but very easy if you understand the logic. The maximum value of fx is equal to, this is the expression, on -1 and 1 is. So what do we do here? These steps remains the same. First thing is to differentiate this. That is f dash x we are going to find out. If it would have been 1 by 4 minus x plus x square, there is a different technique that I will cover in the later question. One question is coming, okay? So I am differentiating it. Once you differentiate it, you are well aware of differentiation. So the final differentiation will be something like this. So this differentiation is your responsibility, and this is the result which you can match. Once you differentiate it, you have to equate it to 0. So once you equate it to 0, that is f dash x equals to 0, what do you get? This denominator of course is going to be 0 if you multiply both sides by the denominator. It is eventually going to subside. So we are interested in the numerator. When we equate this numerator or the whole expression equals to 0, this 4 minus x plus x square will be equal to x into 2x minus 1. From here you get 2x square minus x. Here you get 4 minus x plus x square. So just cancel this x, 2x square, and x square will give you x square, and you get x square equals to 4. So x will be equal to plus minus 2. So you have two values here, plus 2 and minus 2. But to our utter surprise, this interval is -1 and 1. So x can only be between, or this function is in between this -1 and 1. So can you have a value x which is 2 and -2? No, it's not here. So it has to be 2 and -2, which is not lying in -1 and 1. So we are only left with the option of -1 and 1. So we'll place this 1 and -1 in the original equation, and then we'll find out the values, and the maximum of these two values will be the maximum. So I'm doing one thing. I'm replacing x in the original equation by 1 and negative 1. So what do you get? When you place f1 in the original equation, you'll get 1 by 4. Here you are going to get negative 1 by 6. 4 plus 1 plus 1. So negative 1 by 6. Now this negative 1 by 6 and 1 by 4, which is higher. 1 by 4 is higher than negative 1 by 6. So what is the maximum value? Maximum value is 1 by 4 at x equals to 1. So this is the reference for you. So you can just follow these. All these sentences you have to write. Hence the maximum value is 1 by 4. The point on the curve y square equals to 4x, which is nearest to the point. Now in the previous exercise, or you can say at 18.5 exercise, we have taken 4 or 5 questions like this. And nearest distance from any curve to any line or any point. We are talking about the distance. Distance equation is very plain. That means if we have y square equals to 4x, which is the original equation of the curve. So from here you can find out x and y relationship. So you can have x equals to y square by 4. Now you take this any curve. So you can have a line, you can have a point. Since the question is talking about a point. So point is 2, 1. So y square equals to 4x. Any point you can take, it will be x, y. You can assume it to be x, y. And any point on this line or any point anywhere which is 2, 1. The distance formula is, as I said, it is plain. What is plain? It's fixed. What is it is fixed? The distance formula is the distance of x coordinate square plus difference of y coordinate square. Both differences square, you add them and take the under root. So when you do this, y2 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus x1 whole square under root. This is your distance. So what do you get? You can take x1 y1 as xy and x2 y2 as 2, 1 or otherwise. Because ultimately this is difference square. So even if it is negative or positive, it won't affect. The result will remain same. So this distance is going to be under root y minus 1 whole square plus x minus 2 whole square, or you can have it swapped also. You can have x minus 2 whole square plus y minus 1 whole square. So now you can square it also. That is d is equal to under root. We don't want to deal with the under root. We don't want to deal with 1 power half. So we square both the sides. When we square both the sides, this d square we can call it as, say, capital Z. So this capital Z is equal to y minus 1 whole square plus x minus 2 whole square. And then the nearest or the longest or shortest, whichever thing is being asked, you can deal with Z only. Don't worry about if we have squared, what will happen? Nothing will happen. The things will remain same. This is the logic. So once you have this z equals to x minus 2 whole square plus y minus 1 whole square, this differentiation will be dz by dx. So when you differentiate this, what do you get? X minus 2 whole square plus y minus 1 whole square. Let us differentiate it. But the problem is we need to have this right hand side even either with x or y. So we will replace x by y square by 4 in the first term. The second term y minus 1 whole square will remain the same. Now we have all y's on the right hand side. Once you have y or all of the y on the right hand side, now you can differentiate with respect to y, or you can have x as say x as y square by 4 or y as under root x. We don't want to deal with under root, of course. So now this y, when we differentiate y square minus 4 y square by 4 minus 2 whole square plus y minus 1 whole square, you get y cube by 4 minus 2. This is the first differentiation, first derivative. And the next step will be equating it to 0. So y square by 4 minus 2 equals to 0 is y square by 4 equals to 2. Y square equals to 8. Y will be equal to 2. So it's cube. So 8 to the power 1 by 3 is 2 cube. 3 gets cancelled. You get 2. So y is equal to 2. And once you have a y, you can always find out x from equation number 1. X will be equal to y square by 4. Y square is 2 square. 2 square by 4 is 4 by 4. That is 1. So you have this x and y. X as 1 and y equals to 2. So this 1 and 2 is the answer which we were expecting. And until this is a question of MCQ, we have no troubles. But when it is not in the MCQ, you have to solve everything. Then you have to also show that double differentiation gives you the nearest means minimum. Minimum means positive value. So it has to give you the positive value. So we will double differentiate y cube by 4 minus 2. You get 3y square by 4. Put this y value In this y is 2, of course, we've got this. 3 into y square is 4 by 4. So you get 3. 3 is greater than 0, it is positive. So you are going to get the smallest or the nearest distance. So we have computed the nearest distance just now. So whatever being discussed or explained, it is in front of you. And you can follow this and check also whether you are doing it correctly or not. If x plus y equals to 8, then the maximum value of xy is. Now this is also a very straightforward question. X plus y is equal to 8. So if one value is x, of course the second value is 8 minus x. So you have two values, x and 8 minus x. So the second thing, which is x into y, which is the actual term of contention, that is x into y, we have to find out the minimum value. So y we replace by 8 minus x, so the equation becomes x into 8 minus x. Now multiply inside, you get 8x minus x square. When you differentiate it, first differentiate will be 8 minus 2x. Now you have to equate it to 0. Third will be f dash x equals to 0. So 8 minus 2x is equal to 0. So 2x will be equals to 8. X is equal to 2 4s are 8. X equals to 4. So what will be y? Y will be equal to 8 minus x. So now just take this x as 4. Y will be 8 minus 4. Y is 4. X is 4 and y is 4. So this 4 and 4 multiplied, that is, we have to find out the maximum value of x into y. 4 4s are 16. Now this is enough when you are doing this as a multiple choice question. But if it is not a multiple choice question, you have to double differentiate and show that the value is actually going to be negative, so that you get the maximum value. Negative always indicates you are going to get the maximum value. Positive always indicates you are going to get the minimum value. So this also, this is very suitable question for the basics. The least and the greatest value of fx is equal to x cube minus 6x square plus 9x in 0 to 6 are. Now first thing is the differentiation of this original function. So you have x cube minus 6x square plus 9x. So this 3x square minus 12x plus 9. We now differentiate it and equate it to 0. We have already differentiated now. When we differentiate, we have to equate it to 0. So once you equate it to 0, you can divide every term by 3. So eventually you are going to get x square minus 4x plus 3 equals to 0. Now this is very straightforward. This expression we have dealt a lot of time. So it's x minus 1 into x minus 3 equals to 0. These are two factors. And this will give you x equals to 1 and x equals to 3 as the extreme points or the critical points. Once you have x equals to 1 and 3 as the critical points, your whole range is 0 to 6, or the interval, not range basically. Your interval is 0 to 6. Now this 1 and 3 is inside this 0 to 6. So you have 4 values here, 0, 1, 3, 6. You have to find out the least and greatest value. That is the highest and lowest value, minimum and maximum value in between this 0 to 6. And in between 0 to 6, by differentiating and equating to 0, we got two values as well, 1 and 3. So we have to find out the value of the function at 0, 1, 3 and 6. So original equation, if you put 0, it will be 0. If you put 1, you will get 1 cube minus 6 into 1 square plus 9 into 1. So you are going to get certain value at f0, which is 0. f1 equals to 4. When you put f3, you are again going to get 0. And when you put x equals to 6, you are going to get 54. What is the minimum? There are two zeros. So minimum is 0. What is the maximum? Maximum is 54. So the last option here, 0, 54 is your correct answer, which you can follow. So 0 and 54 is your final option that you are going to choose in this multiple choice question. Now this is the reference in front of you. So double differentiation is not required here. Even if it is not a MCQ, then also double differentiation you can skip, because it is all about the values in the interval for which the least and maximum value has to be found out. Now fx equals to sin x plus root 3 cos x is maximum when? Now first thing is what? If you don't know anything, we just differentiate. Okay, so we will differentiate and equate it to 0. When you equate it to 0, what are you going to get? Cos x cos x minus sin x, so root 3. So you have cos x minus root 3 sin x. F dash x equals to 0. When you equate it to 0, it will be cos x equals to root 3 sin x. Now this tan x is equal to 1 by root 3. When you have tan x equals to 1 by root 3, tan 30 degrees 1 by root 3. When you get tan x equals to 1 by root 3, what is the value for which you are going to get the tan of certain value as 1 by root 3? It's 30 degree or pi by 6. Tan 60 degree is what? Tan 60 degree is root 3. Now you can say that the answer is pi by 6. You can stop and just tick and go ahead. Means correct option you can choose and just you can move on and go ahead. But there is a confirmation. We will confirm, then only we come down to any conclusion. So f double dash x is what? Again differentiate the differentiation. First derivative, now we have to find out the second derivative. Second derivative at x equals to pi by 6 you have to find out. So we have this sine 30 degree. Sine 30 degree is 1 by 2. Sine 6 and this cos 30 degree is root 3 by 2. So it will be minus half minus root 3 into root 3 by 2. Alright. So you can take this minus outside common in place of sine pi by 6. And this is cos pi by 6. So sine pi by 6 as I just indicated. Sine pi by 6 or sine 30 degree is 1 by 2. Sine and cos 30 degree is root 3 by 2. So you can have half plus root 3 into root 3 by 2. So 3 by 2. So this is the value which you get, which is negative 2. Which is like less than 0. You are going to get a maximum value. So this is an MCQ question. So you can just skip this third part. But if it is not, you have to do this also. If a cone of maximum value is inscribed in a given sphere, then the ratio of the height of the cone to the diameter of the sphere is. Now you have to follow me then. How you have to follow me? 18.5 exercise. This question has been solved with the diagram properly. So you have to visit again or you visit this 18.5 exercise which we have completed, and there we have used this one, and the answer is 2 by 3. You already know. The height of the cone to the diameter h divided by d of the sphere is this one. So how to do this? This is in front of you. Answer is 2 by 3. How to do this? If you are not able to get this, you have to go back and see the question where we have solved it in its entirety at 18.5 exercise when we completed this exercise. The minimum value of x square plus 250 by x is. Now this question is quite straightforward, and if it has any trick then it will be explained to you. But right now just differentiate this. When you differentiate this, it will be 2x minus 250 by x square. Second thing is the f dash x equals to 0, 0. You have to equate it to 0. So you have 250 by x square equals to 2x. You can cancel this 125 and x cube equals to 25. So 5 into 5 into 5 is 125. So x cube is equal to 125. X will be equal to 5 into 5 into 5. You are going to get x equals to 5. Now x equals to 5. Just put this x equals to 5 in this equation and find out the value. That is, I am replacing x by 5 in this original equation. And this is 25 plus 50, which is 75. 75 is your final answer. Now this 75 you can just tick and go ahead. But if you assume that this question is not the MCQ question, it has come in your actual 2 or 4 marks of question weightage, then you have to double differentiate this. So we need to double differentiate this equation, and when we double differentiate, we have to see that you are going to get a positive value. Positive value will indicate that you are dealing with the minimum value of x square plus 250 by x. So when you double differentiate this, this is x cube, and you have to replace now x by 5. So 2 by 500 divided by 5 into 5 into 5, which is 125. 125 divided 500 divided by 125, which is going to be 4. So 4 plus 2 is 6. This goes 125 and 500 will give you 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. So 6 is greater than 0. So this is positive. Positive is indicating the minimum value, and that is what we were expecting. So it is just that it is the MCQ question. That is why we have done the f double dash x. Otherwise you can just tick 75 and go ahead, because MCQ should not give more time. This question also being completed by us in the previous exercises. Now I'm going to give you a hint also. So we'll try to complete it ASAP, as early as possible. F dash x is 1 minus 1 by x square, and you equate it to 0. When you equate it to 0, x square will be equal to 1. X will be equal to plus minus 1. That is, x square equals to 1. So you have to take both negative and positive value. But in the question it is already given x is greater than 0. When you have x greater than 0, x equals to minus 1 is outright rejected. So x equals to plus 1 is only value from where we can go ahead. So what is the greatest value? X plus 1 by x is there. X equals to 1. So 1 plus 1 by 1 is 2. This is going to be 2. So the greatest value of the function, which is 2, is not in the option. See, the greatest value of the function is coming to be 2 here. But the options are -2, 0 and 3 and none of these. So I hope you are getting the point that it will be none of these. But in order to confirm that, we have to double differentiate also. 1 minus 1 by x square double differentiation is 2 by x cube. It's very straightforward differentiation which you have already known. Now in place of x, if you replace it by 1, you get 2 by 1, which is 2, which is positive. Positive is going to give you minimum value. So minimum value you won't get because they are asking about the greatest value. So the double differentiation also is indicating that none of these. X equals to 1, when we place it in the original equation, is going to give you 2, which is not in the option, -2, 0, 3, none of these. So you can just check the none of these because we are not going to with the actual result. None of this is the answer. None of these is the real answer. So I hope you got the idea. You have to double check until you reach to an option. Otherwise, one step or 2 steps will not suffice, whether you are right or not. So none of these is the correct option here. X equals to 1 is the local minima actually. X equals to 1 because x is greater than 0. If it would have not been given x greater than 0, then the outcome would have been different. The result would have been different. Now if fx equals to this one, then its maximum value is. Now if you remember, I told you in the beginning of this discussion that if 1 by something is there, we can apply a distinct kind of approach. That is an approach which we haven't seen up till now. So if you start differentiating this 1 by 4x square plus 2x plus 1, the effort will be more. So if you want to find out the maximum value of 1 by 4x square plus 2x plus 1, it is simply equal to the minimum value of the reciprocal of 1 by 4x square plus 4x plus 1. That is, if you take reciprocal of this expression, you get 4x square plus 2x plus 1. So rather than finding out the maximum value, we can go ahead with the finding out the minimum value of this one. Alright. So 4x square plus 2x plus 1, we will just take now the expression not as 1 by this thing, but 4x square plus 2x 1. Alright. This is the concept you understood. So we'll now differentiate. We'll start with 4x square plus 2x plus 1. We differentiate it. We equate it to 0. So f dash x equals to 0 is 8x plus 2 equals to 0. It gives you x equals to, it is going to be 8x equals to -2, x equals to -1 by 4. So x equals to -1 by 4, f double dash x equals to, what will be this one? Double differentiation is going to give you 8. 8 is greater than 0, indicating you are going to get a positive value or a minimum value. Positive, that means minimum value. So x equals to -1 by 4 is going to give you the minimum value. So you are going to get a local minima from here. So now what about 1 by 4x square plus 2x plus 1? If you put x equals to -1 by 4 in now the reciprocal, which is the actual original equation 1 by 4x square plus 2x plus 1, this is going to give you, of course, the maximum value because -1 by 4 is giving minimum value for 4x square plus 2x plus 1. But same thing will give local maxima if you invert it. Alright, so 1 by 4x square plus 2x plus 1 at x equals to -1 by 4 will give you the maximum value. So you got the concept now? So the fourth thing which we have to do it to here, we will again go to the original equation, place x equals to -1 by 4, and when we place x equals to -1 by 4, we are going to get certain value, and that certain value is what? It is the maximum value of this function, which is 4 by 3 in case. Now the next thing is the double differentiation. So if you are not happy with my discussion, you can differentiate this function using p by q form, question form, and then you see whether this 4 by 3 is coming or not. It will come same. So I showed you a distinct or different approach which we have never applied. That is, let x, y be two variables and x greater than 0 and x into y equals to 1, then the minimum value of x plus y is. Now we have to find out the minimum value of x plus y, and xy equals to 1 is already given. So we are going to utilize it. The first thing is x into y is equal to 1. What do you get from here? You get a relationship between x and y. So y will be equal to 1 by x. This is your first equation. Then we have the x plus y, which has to be minimized or maximized. So we have x plus y. This is the function we have to deal with. We will replace y by 1 by x here. So it will be x plus 1 by x. F dash x is what? We have to differentiate this. It will be 1 minus 1 by x square. And then third one is, or the next step is going to be equating it to 0. So 1 minus 1 by x square equals to 0. That is 1 by x square equals to 1. That is x square equals to 1. That is x equals to plus minus 1. So we have x equals to plus minus 1. Now in the question it is already given it is x greater than 0. So we cannot have the negative value. So we can only use x equals to positive 1. X equals to positive 1. Now if x equals to 1, what will be the value of y? Because x equals to 1 by y and y equals to 1 by x. So if 1 is 1, the other 1 will also be 1. Now the final value will be when you take x equals to 1, y equals to 1, 1 plus 1, x plus y, 1 plus 1 equals to 2. So 2 is the answer. Now the question is finished as far as MCQ is concerned. This one. But if this question is not in MCQ, then you have to do one more step. That is the double differentiation. And you have to double differentiate, and double differentiation, then put the value of 1 and find out whether you are actually getting minimum 1 or not. So we have 2 by x cube. We will replace x by 1 and we get that 2. 2 is positive. Positive means you are getting a minimum value. So this proved that this is the minimum value. So how are we going to go about it? This is in front of you now. The only thing which is important here is x greater than 0. So you won't take x equals to negative 1 in any case. 1 plus 2 sin x plus 3 cos square x. This x is between 0 and 2 pi by 3. Please remember x has to be between 0 and 2 pi by 3. So minimum, maximum, there are 4 options. And at what value? This is the question. At x equals to 2, pi by 2 or 1 by root 3 sin inverse, pi by 6 or 1 by 6. The start will be the differentiation of the original value. So just differentiate this. F dash x will be what? It will be 2 cos x. And this goes 6, cos x will be minus n x. So minus 3, 6, minus 6 cos x. This is the first derivative. You can take a certain thing common here. 2 cos x is common in both the terms. When we take 2 cos x, it will be 1 minus 3 sin x inside. Second thing will be the equating it to 0. So once you equate it to 0, you get 2 cos x into 1 minus 3 sin x equals to 0. It can be cos x equals to 0. It can be 1 minus 3 sin x equals to 0. And this 1 minus 3 sin x 0 will give you sin x equals to 1 by 3. So cos x equals to 0 and sin x equals to 1 by 3. What is the value of x for which you get cos x equals to 0? See, cos 0 equals to 1, cos pi by 2 equals to 0. So you have x equals to pi by 2. Now we have the first option in this MCQ which is saying minimum at x equals to pi by 2. So you will be tempted to just check it. But this sin equals to 1 by 3 which is x equals to sin inverse 1 by 3 also needs to be checked. How are we going to check it? Simply we have to double differentiate. Once you double differentiate, then you have to put these value x equals to pi by 2 and x equals to sin inverse 1 by 3 and see whether you are getting the minimum or maximum. I hope you got the idea. So see here we get x equals to pi by 6, pi by 2 and x equals to sin inverse 1 by 3. Double differentiation we have to do. Double differentiation checking at pi by 2 and sin inverse 1 by 3 together. This is f pi by 2. When you place this x equals to pi by 2 in double differentiation I am saying. So we don't have to find out the value. If what I am doing right now is finding out the value of the function at x equals to pi by 2 or x equals to sin inverse 1 by root 3, that we don't have to do. We just have to double differentiate and put this x equal to pi by 2 and x equals to sin inverse 1 by 3 and see whether we are getting minimum or maximum. But do remember that x is in between 0 and 2 pi by 3. It is in between that. So I don't know what is sin inverse 1 by 3. You also don't know. Because in this type of question, there are certain values of sin and cos which are on our tips. But sin inverse 1 by 3, these kind of questions we have not dealt normally. Okay, so I am double differentiating it, putting pi by 2. When we put pi by 2, it will be minus 2, 6 cos pi is minus 1. So you get 6 minus 2. 4 is positive, that is greater than 0. You are going to get minimum value here. So minimum at x equals to pi by 2 is proved here. We have already showed it. Now, if the question is that multiple choice and multiple choices can be chosen, then the scenario becomes different. But here, because only one option is to be chosen, x equals to pi by t minimum is our answer, and we will stop here. X equals to pi by 2, you are going to get local minima. And if you do this as I was discussing earlier, sin inverse 1 by 3, when you place it here, what are you going to get? I'll tell you what is the value, because here sin and sin inverse are going to get cancelled, and this 6 cos sin inverse inside, you can cancel this sin and sin inverse, and you can change this cos into sin or sin inverse into cos inverse, because cos pi by 2 minus theta is sin theta, sin pi by 2 minus theta is cos theta. One way you can take like this, or you can take sin inverse and cos inverse relationship and convert this sin inverse into cos inverse, and then you can cancel this cos and cos inverse. So that I leave for you. I'll just show you what will be the final result, and that final result, actually we don't have to do it if it is a MCQ question. Since we are just discussing and this is your growing period, you need to understand that you have to check it for sin inverse 1 by 3 also. So again, cos into sin inverse 1 by 3, cos and sin inverse cannot be cancelled, but sin and sin inverse can be cancelled. So cos can be converted into sin inverse, as I was telling. Again, sin inverse can be converted into cos inverse. So you can cancel cos and cos inverse then. Alright. So what do you do here? The final value which you see here, the last thing which I wrote for the numbers, if you take negative outside, it will be negative. Negative is going to give you the maximum value, and this maximum value will be only at 1 by 3. But since there is no option of 1 by 3, I am just completing it for the sake of your knowledge. Otherwise, x equals to pi by 2 and the final first option is always true, which we have already done. It's sin inverse 1 by root 3. Remember, it's not sin inverse 1 by 3. Otherwise, we would have worried, oh no, it may be sin inverse 1 by 3 because we are getting sin inverse 1 by 3. But we are not getting it. It's sin inverse 1 by root 3. How are we going to do it? So this is in front of you, all the discussion which we did. Function fx equals to this one is maximum at x equals to what? So we have x equals to fx. We are differentiating it right now, f dash x. When you differentiate it, what are you going to get? 6x square minus 30x plus 36, and this one has to be differentiated and equated to 0. Once you equate it to 0, 6x square minus 30x plus 36 equals to 0, you can divide both the sides by 6. So you will get x square minus 5x plus 6. This has become quite easy now. X minus 2 into x minus 3 are the two factors. So x will be equal to either 2 or x will be either 3. 2 and 3 are the options. So this is maximum at x equals to what? Either it can be x equals to 2 or it can be x equals to 3. These are the only options we have right now. So we'll check it. We will double differentiate this 6x square minus 30x plus 36. Please remember, x square minus 5x plus 6 is the simplified version when we equated it to 0. But eventually we have to deal with 6x square minus 30x plus 36, which is the single derivative. Double derivative is 12x minus 30, and we will put this value 2 and 3 here. When we put 2, we are going to get negative 6, and this is negative means maximum. We are going to get the maximum value, and this is the maximum value. Question is also saying maximum value. We are also getting the maximum value. So, but we still need to check for 3 just for the sake of completion. So if f double dash 3 is there, this 3 in x, that is 12 into 3 minus 30, 36 minus 30 is 6, 6 is minimum. So the question is asking about maximum, so we won't keep an eye on this, but we will give the answer as what I suggested. The maximum value of fx equals to this one on minus 1 and 1, and this question we have already covered up. If you remember, we got plus minus 2, and I told you it is out of the bound of negative 1 and 1. So we need to check for negative 1 and 1 only, because this negative 2 and 2 is out of the bound. It is going, say, away or outside the boundary being provided. So we have those who are following me, they know that 1 by 6 and negative 1 by 4 has already come. We have discussed this in detail, but you can just do it. If you have any problem, then just let me know. We can again take care of this question. Now this question, the minimum value of x log x is equal to. So those who have already done this, because we have done this question, but since for the sake of completion, as I was suggesting, fx is equal to x log x. We will differentiate this, and differentiation will be x log x is 1 by x plus log x. This will be 1, so it will be 1 plus log x. When we have 1 plus log x, the second thing will be what? F dash x equals to 0, so 1 plus log x will be equal to 0, log x will be equal to negative 1. So e raised minus 1 or e to the power minus 1 is x. So x will be equal to 1 by e. So x equals to 1 by e is the point of extreme or point of criticality, or critical point or extreme point. But the minimum value of this, we have to find out the minimum value of the function. So we have to place this 1 by e in the original function to get the value. And before that, we have to just check for minimum and maximum also. So f double dash x, we will double differentiate this, and we have to double differentiate 1 plus log x. It will be simply 1 by x. And at x equals to 1 by e, what are you going to get? You are going to get e. This is minimum. Because it is a positive value will give you minimum. So this minimum will be, what is the minimum? F 1 by e we have to compute. I am putting this 1 by e in the original function. 1 by e log e 1 by e. Now when you take this 1 by e as e raised minus 1, because it is already in the denominator, if you place it in the numerator, it will be the power of negative 1. So this is e raised minus 1 log base e will get cancelled, negative 1 will come in front, so negative 1 by e. This is negative 1 by e is the final result which we can achieve here, and this is how we are going to solve this. Alright. The minimum value of the function, this one is, so we will first differentiate this function. Once you differentiate this function, you will get, this is 3 to the 6 x square. I'm not writing the original function, it is already in front of you. So this is the first derivative I'm writing, minus 42x plus 36. Local minima maxima, you have to equate this to 0. So 6x square minus 42x plus 36 equals to 0. You can divide every left hand side and right hand side by 6. So x square minus, this will be 7x and 6 is 36. So x square minus x minus 6x plus 6 equals to 0. X minus 1 minus 6 x minus 1. So x minus 1 and x minus 6 are the 2 points of criticality, you can say. Critical points, extreme points. So 1 and 6 we'll check. And the minimum value of the function, you just check 1 and 6, whichever is the minimum, just tick that one. And we have to find out the minimum value of the function. So this 1 and 6 has to be placed in place of x in order to get the value. But before that, double differentiation we are doing to just check whether we are actually getting minimum or maximum. So at 1 and 6 both will check in the double differentiation. Double differentiation of 6x square minus 42x plus 36 already written, 12x minus 42. Now I'm replacing x by 1 in one case and x equals to 6 in one case. So negative 30 is minimum, 30 is, which is positive, is maximum. So what will be the correct value? You have to put the 1 because you are getting minimum at 1. So when you place 1, the function will give you negative 128. So first option is the correct option here. Minus 128, correct option. This is the value of the function. So this is how you are going to take the reference and try to solve it. And after doing these many questions, I hope you are well aware now. So thank you so much and have a good one.